Welcome to the new series of This Racing Life. This week, we are in Lambourn, the Valley of the Racehorse. Here's what's coming up on the latest edition of This Racing Life. Trainers Dominic French Davis and Raphael Freire reveal what's changed when it comes to their Amo Racing runners.
Would I sort of chaperone Raphael for 6 months or so it might take to get a license? And I said, yeah, I'd be delighted to.
Not only great work partners, but great friends, I'd say. So I mean, it has made life a lot easier for me.
We hear from Jonathan Portman on his irresistible big handicap hero, Too Tempting.
I wasn't sure at the beginning of the year whether he was badly handicapped, so it'd be wrong for me to say we expected all this.
And Warren Greatrex tells us why he's become the latest national hunt trainer to increase his presence on the flat.
I think you've got to see how racing evolves. I think that was part of the thinking of doing it.
In recent weeks, we have seen the movements of some of the Amo Racing horses from the stable of Dominic French Davis to the stable of Raphael Freire. Now, Dominic still has some under his own name, but the majority have gone to the new kid on the block. We have come down to High View Stables to find out a little bit more about what the future might hold for both men.
It has changed quite a bit. Raphael is taking over the licensing of Felsted Courtyard, so it means we'll be less busy. But we've got plenty of nice horses to look forward to, so I'm looking forward to the future.
And you've still got some Amo horses under your care, haven't you?
We have at the moment. It's yet to be decided exactly how many, but we're deciding that between us.
Okay, if we can just rewind a little bit back to how it all started originally, just talk us through how that happened.
Purely by chance, Keir decided he'd take a lease out on Felsted Court, thought it would be good to have a base where he would have a lot of his horses and be able to run them from there. And he had someone in mind, Raphael Freire, nice fella, very clued up. He'd been training in Norway, and he wanted to get him licensed to train from Felsted Court. And I think problems with his visa and things, he couldn't get a license. And so that took a bit of sorting out, and I had a phone call one day and Keir said, would I explain the situation and would I sort of chaperone Raphael for 6 months or so it might take to get a license. And I said, yeah, I'd be delighted to.
And Raphael Freire, he was with you from the sort of start of the Amo horses coming over?
Right from the start. He was assistant trainer, and so we worked together closely and planned the routines with every horse and where we're going to run them. And my main sort of input to it was teaching Raphael about the different nature of the tracks in England and where we thought it would be a good idea to run. And you know, basically, Raph wouldn't have understood the different idiosyncrasies of all the different tracks. So between the pair of us, we managed to sort of plan out where we should be going with each horse.
Yeah, and you've had some pretty nice success too, getting that first group winner last year. That must have been a real thrill with Persian Dreamer. Yeah,
she's a lovely filly. Sadly, she didn't she had an injury in pre-training in Ireland this year, so she couldn't show what she could do as a 3-year-old. But lovely quality filly. Liked a bit of cut in the ground. And very exciting to get, when the rain came at Newmarket, we were jumping up and down.
I can imagine. It must have been a new experience for you as well, getting these winners in high profile races.
Yeah, we've hit the crossbar a few times in the past. You know, we've had plenty of, well, I don't say plenty, but a lot of listed, placed, and several group, there or thereabouts in group races. But we never had one actually go and do the business.
And did you feel that with Persian Dreamer and Mr. Professor and that whole kind of horse and some of the best ones you've had from Amo, that you actually have reached that sort of finding a superstar level?
No, I don't think so. Whilst they're nice horses and good horses, I'm still looking for that superstar. You want, the sort of a King of Steel would be a superstar. A Persian Dreamer is a very nice horse, but not quite there yet.
I wanted to touch on the family affair here at the French Davis team too. But it is that really, isn't it, with your wife and your son around?
It is, yeah. My wife plays an integral part, you know, she does most of my bookwork, and she's there up at the yard every day and helping me run things. My son, who rides over jumps, has had recently come back from a spell in America where he went to Maryland, but he came home with a broken collarbone. He's back riding out now. I think he does intend to go back to the States as soon as he's fit and well enough to do so.
I went freelance sort of a year and a half ago after being at Nicky Henderson's for sort of 2 seasons, and I like to play a big role here. I like, in the summertime when the jump racing's quiet, I like going racing and saddling, you know, talking to owners, and it's very much a dream of mine to do after race riding.
You obviously had a hiatus out of the saddle for a while. Have you enjoyed being back in riding action since you've come back?
Yeah, I have actually. Look, I did everything the wrong way when I was riding before, and my weight was through the roof. I was struggling to ride at sort of 10 stone 12, and since I've been back, I started off at my bottom weight, 10 stone 5, and slowly chipped away at it, and now I can claim off bottom weight. So it does open a few doors for me, the rides that other people can't do the weight on. And
you've had a nice stint in America as well. I know that there are a couple of falls in there, weren't there? But generally, have you enjoyed it?
I loved America, and I do plan to go back in the next few weeks. I was over there sort of 2.5 months, and over here in the summer, rides are very few and far between. Whereas in America, you're going racing on a Saturday and you've got 6 or 7 rides from nearly a full card. And riding for some really lovely people, and I've made some great connections. And you had an injury recently, didn't you? But you're pretty much bang on now. Yeah, on the mend now. So the last meeting before the break in the spring, I was riding at a racecourse called Radnor, the last race on the day, and it was my 3rd ride of the day. And I said to the boys beforehand, I said, I've only got to survive this one and I'm homeward bound. And it fell and I broke my collarbone, but it is what it is. I was coming home anyway, so it was nice to have a bit of a break. And do you think your experience in America has taught you a few things that perhaps you might not have known before you went there? Definitely. More to the point, I've never had 6 rides on a card in England. The most I've had is 3, nearly 4, but I had a non-runner. So going over in America and you're riding in every race, it's a brilliant experience, it really is. And I've come back and I'd love to be doing that here. You know, it really is what I want to do. Since you sort of have this 2-pronged attack with Raphael, since he's come over, have you seen your training methods or techniques change in any way, or are you keeping the status quo? Have you kept it?
I have tried to adapt a bit because, you know, Raphael, plenty of input came from Raphael and from Robson as well. He's quite tough on his horses, and I've probably been guilty of being not tough enough on them in the past. So I have probably changed my methods slightly, more in line with the Brazilian way of thinking. And has that been incorporated into your current yard, not just the Amo horses? Yes, definitely, yeah. Okay, and in terms of what the future holds for French Davis Racing, what are you currently thinking? Has the Amo influx changed your opinion of what you want to achieve in the future, or have you kind of got that same feeling about what you want to do? No, I think it makes me more hungry for success. Okay. You know, you get used to, well, you don't get used to winning group races, but you get a taste for winning them. I was going to say, does it light that fire a bit? Definitely, definitely, and it just shows what's achievable. You know, you don't have to spend a fortune. I mean, the two best horses were probably Enchanting Empress and Persian Dreamer. They didn't cost £500,000 each. If I can buy horses at that sort of level, hopefully we can have the similar sort of success. No wonder Dominic and Raphael have been working together so closely for the last couple of years, because their stables are quite literally adjoined. And here, Raphael, the 28-year-old new kid on the block, is looking to make his mark in his first season as a licensed trainer.
Had a great experience time with Dom, and now got the opportunity to get my license and do my own thing, and I'm thrilled and looking very forward to the rest of the season. Yeah, absolutely. And for all of us who don't know so much about you and where you come from and your how you got into the game itself, just talk us a little bit through that. Well, I come from a very traditional racing family in Brazil, both father and my mother's side. My father is still a trainer up to this day in Brazil. My great-grandfather was one of the very first Brazilian trainers. Made my own way out, rode rode as an apprentice and as a jockey in Brazil, then moved over to Scandinavia where I was then a jockey, and then just was led really in the path of training horses and ended up where I am now really.
And how did you get in touch with Kia?
Well, I bought a horse off them and done well with it a couple of years back, and I knew Robson from a long way back as well. So he was he rode a lot for my dad when I was a kid. So I mean, it just, everything worked in that direction.
And you've had this partnership with Dom for a couple of years now. How have you found that so far?
It was brilliant, you know. Dom is a very wise man and very well known. So for me as a young trainer, it's a lot to take on. It's a lot of small things that you could end up not picking up along the way, and Don is well aware of them, so he led me the right path all the way, and I mean it was great working side by side with him for 2.5 years. Not only great work partners, but great friends, I'd say. So I mean it has made life a lot easier for me.
And just with Robson, do you have quite a close relationship now? Do you talk to him quite a lot?
Very close relationship with Robson. I speak to him basically every day. He's been a great help for many years for me, and he's a big part to me being where I am now.
And if he's pre-training these horses, then I suppose he can sort of give you an idea as to their temperaments and what they're like as horses when they come to you.
Oh, absolutely. And in the winter time when we're not as busy here, I also go up to his and I get a feel of them for myself as well. And I get plenty of inside info of them before they arrive here. I know much more how they are like.
And you've got some very accomplished horses under your name now, the likes of Enchanting Empress, who of course ran at Royal Ascot recently, and King of Steel. Good to see him still in the yard. I know that he's going off to Ireland, isn't he? But for now, he's still recovering.
Yeah. He's doing his recovering process here. I mean, it's only Amo horses here. It only made sense for the boss to put him here to do the recovery and then take the steps that he decides to take with him in the future. Yeah, and Enchanting Empress, she's done great for us. I mean, maybe she didn't really like the ground at Royal Ascot, but yeah, she's a very exciting filly, and we look forward to the rest of her career.
And what was your experience like of Royal Ascot as a trainer for the first time?
Well, it was busy, wasn't it? It's a chaotic, quick, but I mean it's where everyone wants to be, and for me as a trainer to have my first runners in Britain in such a great week, it was absolutely fantastic.
And to eventually get a win on the board at Royal Ascot, I imagine that would be a dream of yours.
I mean, that'd be a dream to get a winner on any racetrack at the minute, but I mean, eventually, if that day ever comes of getting a winner at Royal Ascot, it surely is, I think, the dream of not only mine, but any racehorse trainer in the world.
And what are the other hopes and ambitions that you have as a young man? You're only 28, so still at the embryonic stage of your career.
Surely, well, we want to kick on, you know, we want to put our heads down and kick on and get as many winners as we can on the board, and make that maybe listed winners or I mean, any sort of winners that we can. We want to get them on the board and I mean, kick on and see where it takes us, you know. And
you've got that drive, that ambition, haven't you?
Oh yes, that's what we want, you know. Not only because I'm young, but because I'm born and raised inside this sport. And I mean, when you reach the level that we are at now, and possibly the greatest nation of racing, you know, and to be able to do the job that I love and the job that I chose here in this country, it's already a dream come true. And now I just want to make it count.
Here in Upper Lambourn, Jonathan Portman has enjoyed a strong start to the summer, with one horse in particular flying the flag here at Whitcomb House Stables.
Too tempting from Beshtani in the near side. It's a half length, it's a neck, it's down to a neck and a head now. Out to the line, on the nose, Too Tempting.
Too Tempting goes on to Tawada in second. Mascarpone down the wide outside. He's eating up ground, but Too Tempting got first run, racing up towards the line. Too Tempting wins.
He's been a revelation this year, hasn't he? We never envisaged during the winter that he would have won 4 out of 5 races before the end of June. So no, he's really come to the fore this year, and perhaps this is his year. But now rated 95, I'm sure it's going to get a bit tougher for him. But he's given everyone a lot of fun. He's owned by a lovely syndicate of owners, and he's won a few quid too.
Yes, we've seen huge progress, haven't we, this season. Did you think coming into this campaign that was going to happen, or has it surprised you a little bit, just how much he's improved?
Well, I know the family do get better with age and confidence, and he's a prime example of that. We've had Sweet Reward, his elder brother, who had a similar profile but hasn't quite ridden to those heights. I wasn't sure at the beginning of the year whether he was badly handicapped, so it'd be wrong for me to say we expected all this. But once we saw what great form he was at the beginning of the year, you know, what he won at Chelmsford with Trevor and Ascot with Olivia, and we knew he was in great heart, so we thought we had a chance of just creeping up the ladder a little bit. But the two big wins recently were fantastic and not, I mean, not totally expected.
And we've seen him this morning, trotting around, looking very docile, but I know that his temperament hasn't always been like that.
Yes, as I say, the whole family, and when they come to us, they're very, the sort of horse that would stand at the back of their stable and not come and speak to you and be very shy about anything new, and quite tiresome in that regard. And it's been lovely, especially with Too Tempting, just seeing him grow in confidence. And now he just can't wait to stick his head out of the door and give you a lick and a chew. And I love horses to be like that. You know, he's enjoyed his last few races. I'm sure he's had a hard race, but he's enjoyed the races. He's been given a lovely ride the last couple of times by David Egan, and that all helps with his confidence. And that's the family. They're all the same. They're all the same.
And David Egan has developed a really good partnership with the horse. But let's not forget that Olivia Tubb has definitely played her part too, because of course she gave him a great ride, I thought, at Ascot earlier in the season.
I was really chuffed for Olivia at Ascot because I wasn't sure how she'd get on with him in a race. I just thought if he's too keen or he sees too much daylight, it's not going to work well for her. But she rode a very grown-up race. She committed him early, which just worked. But no, I was just so pleased for her. I mean, I was pleased for the owners and for myself, but it's a big thing for Olivia to have a winner at Ascot in a sort of only her second season as an apprentice. Rob Hornby's done a good job on him, but, you know, second 5 times, so it's all about winning, isn't it? So we're delighted with the relationship David's had with the horse, and I would be pretty keen to, if David was available another time. But I know he's a busy jockey with other commitments, so we might not be so lucky getting him next time, but I think the owners are very keen to keep that relationship going.
So only up £2 for that victory in the handicap. That leaves you with quite a few options, doesn't it, in terms of keeping to handicaps before maybe trying your hand at pattern class if he keeps progressing.
Yes, the breeder keeps haranguing me saying when is he going to run in black type races, but there's no rush for that until these expensive handicaps don't look so easy. I dare say he'll be running in pattern races at some point maybe, but we're just seeing how we get on.
We touched on Olivia Tubb riding Too Tempting. Just in terms of her general progression, have you been pleased with what you've seen over the last couple of seasons with her?
Very pleased, relieved because it's so hard for any young jockey to get going. We've done what we can for her, getting her going in those Hands and Heels series, which are fantastic races for trainers to put more modest horses in there to get their apprentices going. She did very well in that last year, but she's out of that now. She's got 15, I think, winners now, so she can't ride in those races, so it's tougher for her. I think she's doing very well in the apprentice-only races. She's a good booking in an apprentice race, and she's had a few goes against the big boys in the other races where she's probably just still finding her feet a bit. Like any young jockey, she'll have a good week where everything wins, and then other weeks where nothing goes in a straight line and she questions herself, and we're really trying to help her. George Baker, the jockey coach, doing a fantastic job with her. But it's mental as well as physical, as you know, with these jockeys, and he's really working at her mental, positive attitude. But, you know, it's coming together gradually. She knows it's not going to happen straight away.
I think this has been my 6th year this summer. I came when I was still at school and I rode out at weekends, and then I was still riding out through my A-levels, so I did school and this at the same time. So yeah, I have been here for quite a while now, and it's great to be supported by Johnny, and there's a good team of horses around me. And it all started slightly before that, didn't it, with a wooden horse, I've been led to believe. Yeah, I never had a pony when I was younger. I always wanted to be a jockey. I loved to go into racing. And then my dad, bless him, he built a wooden horse for me to practice on. And yeah, it sort of fed the passion from there.
Yeah, and that passion still burns strong. And you're not far off the £5 now, getting down from £7. Only a few winners to go. You confident you'll get there quite soon?
I'm hopeful. I've got 5 left to get to my £5. And I'd just like to keep things improving, keep things progressing. That's all I can really ask for. You know, more rides, more winners. We all want that, but it's hard to come across. I'm very appreciated of what I have, and hopefully it will carry on.
And she appears to have all the attributes you need to be a successful jockey.
She does her homework. She's very good at her fitness. Any young jockey that spends as much time in the gym as her deserves to do well, and it's the only way forward. You know, you've got to really be committed physically and mentally, and so she's got all that. Just needs to get a bit stronger and attract a few more other trainers to get on some horses for outside rides. Until she gets more outside rides, you know, there's only so much I can do for her, and I'd like to see her. I'd like to see the phone ringing a bit more for her from other trainers, which after Ascot I thought it would, and it has done a bit. But I know she's rides out for Brian Meehan as well, and I'm sure will help her, and other trainers I'm sure will help her.
And hopefully those trainers watch this and listen. That'd be nice.
Absolutely. I hope lots of people watch this. I'm sure they all do.
During his training career, Warren Greatrex has proven himself at the highest level with multiple Grade 1 winners over jumps, but is now also seeing what he can do on the flat and with son Eddie in the saddle.
It was a bit of a surprise. Jim and Claire Bryce, who obviously own the yard and a huge supporter of me. It's only just Jim mentioned it about 4 months ago, and just said, do you fancy having a few 2-year-olds, breezers? And anyway, I said, yeah, I'll have a few. And just as Jim is, we've got definitely more than a few. So yeah, hugely exciting, and yeah, can't wait to get, well, we've got started and can't wait to see what we can do.
And I suppose a completely different challenge to the one you spent doing your entire training career so far.
Yeah, very much so. You know, at the end of the day, horses are horses, aren't they? But it's slightly different way of doing things. I'm really enjoying it. Like anything, this is normally sort of downtime with just a few jumpers in, but you know, we've got 15 flat horses now, so very exciting, and a change is as good as a rest, isn't it? I'm hugely competitive, and I want to get it right.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, which is why I suppose you're using Eddie for most of the rides on these new flat horses. Couldn't have a better bloke, no?
Well, yeah, he's all right. Yeah.
How are you feeling about the whole operation, Eddie?
Yeah, hugely excited. I was obviously in this morning. I've been in a few times now and rode a few of the other geldings, and just really excited to get going. The couple that we have run have run really well, and yeah, Dad's not doing a bad job.
And when your dad mentioned it to you originally, did you think, oh, this could actually work, or is it a little bit of, oh, this might be pie in the sky type thinking?
No, because I know what Dad's like. I know once he gets his teeth stuck into something, there's no grabbing it off him. So I knew that he'd be 100% at it from the get-go, and you can only see the horses this morning. There's some gorgeous types there to work with. So no, just hugely excited for Dad and obviously Jim and Claire.
And it must be quite fun, actually, from a personal point of view, to be able to ride for your dad as well, like in flat races going forward.
Yeah, Dad forgets that he's trained by a few winners on the flat already, so he can do it, and I've ridden in plenty of winners for Dad, so nothing changes, only their age, really.
How different have you found it from, say, training 3 miles stamina-laden chases to dropping back to a 5-furlong sprinter? Is it a completely different technique, or are there some similarities?
Just, look, you don't have to do as much. It's a case of, obviously, the majority of mine were breeze-up horses, so they, you know, they'd already knew their job, and it was a case of getting them in the system, getting them to relax, because obviously they're being revved up to go there, although they all came back, and it's much more professional now, and they came back pretty chilled, actually. We haven't had really any ones that have been going crazy. So it's a case of getting them in the system, and then taking a lot of advice from Ed, you know, and Ollie, my assistant. He worked on the flat for quite a bit as well. So just sort of, and not thinking know it all, because I don't. You know, this is completely new to me, and just taking advice, but knowing that, you know, we want to get it right, and, you know, it's important to get it right.
And do you think if this is a successful mission foray into the flat in, say, 3-4 years' time, would you see yourself specifically concentrating on this, or would you always have both?
I think you've got to see how racing evolves. I think that was part of the thinking of doing it. One, obviously from being a national hunt trainer, during the summer everything gets quiet, so to keep this business in the best health it can be, to have some flat horses is good. But the way life is out there, and from people and the outside looking in, we don't know where we'll be, do we? So I think it is important at this time to look at other ways and, you know, something different, and I think it's important to keep changing, and that's what we're trying to do.
And Jim and Claire have spent a fair bit of money, haven't they, in the process?
Yeah, they have. They've been amazing supporters, and you know, Jim likes to do things. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it right. So when he said a couple, he went and bought 13. You know, that's just Jim. We bought all different types, a couple of sharper types, and some that could go down the road of, you know, juvenile hurdling in time. And so it's nice to have across the board, you know, difference. And no, they've been amazing, Jim and Claire, and I can't thank them enough, and hopefully I can repay them.
Right, let's go and have a look at some of them, shall we?
Brilliant, lovely. So he is called Orchard. He is by the first season stallion Wooded. And he was bought at the Arcana sales. Still a colt. He'll be more back end, but I might, there's 3 of them that I'm going to hold back. So Arcana have this sales race that's worth 150,000 euros for first time out maidens. Okay. Over 7 furlongs, I think at the beginning of August. So this would be one that could be for that. He's getting there now. Yep. He's coming along nicely. As you see, like you said, he's a gorgeous horse, and I think anyone would be happy with him.
He's lovely to look at, isn't he?
Yeah.
He looks nicely framed too.
Yeah, and a really good mover, great attitude. Yeah, something there's a lot to like about him. He'd be one of my favourites just because of the look of him, and he could be one that maybe in time could go, you know, juvenile hurdling and be a bit of a dual purpose horse. But we'll see how we go. But I know that Jim and Claire, they quite like angles, and that Arcana series, it was definitely something that we thought would be interesting.
Yeah, it could be a prime suspect for that.
Yeah. So this fella is called Yankee Dude. I'm not totally convinced by the name, but he is by Star Spangled Banner. So he is related to a classic winner at the second dam called Trading Leather.
Mm-hmm. Is that an Irish Derby winner?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so gorgeous horse this. Very laid back, always hungry, likes a bit of biting. But he came in, I think we weighed him, when he came in from the sales, 550 odd kilos, which is pretty much, it's a lot, it's as heavy as my jumpers. And so he's still a colt as well. So again, he won't be ready for 5 or 6 weeks at least, I would say. But he is shedding the weight off. But very relaxed horse, great attitude.
And he'll be one for further down the line this season.
Yeah, yeah. But he's doing everything right. He pretty much leads everywhere. So obviously with the 2-year-olds we've got, we haven't actually got a lead horse, so they have to sort of fend for themselves, which isn't a bad thing. But he's one you could sort of put in front and off he goes.
Do you think that almost helps them learn a little bit quicker?
I think so. And I think with the breeze ups, they've obviously had to gallop up a racetrack on their own as it is, so they're a bit further forward that way. But no, I love him. I think he's a very nice horse. So this is, he's called Pistrucci. He's by 10 Sovereigns out of a Dubawi mare. Again, he qualifies for the Arcana series. Just a beautiful looking horse.
He is some specimen.
Yeah, really nice. I like him a lot. Definitely one of the ones that Tess thought that she got very reasonably priced for one reason or another. So he could be exciting, but he's doing everything right, and he carries his condition very well. Does all his work very well. So no, really nice type, and very much looking forward to getting him on the track. And
you look at him, you think he could be worth any amount of money. So the fact that he was a fairly cheap buy is all the better, isn't it? Really?
Definitely the Dubawi side, they're always good looking, aren't they? So out of a Dubawi mare, so no, again, very much looking forward to running him.
That's all we've got time for today. Thanks very much for watching, and join us next week for another foray into this racing life.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.